Hello there. Here's a demo showing how to enrich your app with live updates and widgets. Here's what we'll build. Our hungry users want to quickly order their favorite snacks right from their home screen, which they can do with this resizable widget. Because this order is important, they want a prominent notification chip that they can tap to see each step of their order's progress, from confirmation to delivery. Here are the concepts we'll cover. We'll show how to get started with canonical layouts, which are a catalog of layout patterns to help you quickly build adaptive widgets. We'll also create generated previews. These previews are personalized. They use the user's data rather than a static image. For example, in the widget preview, I see my recent orders rather than a generic list of orders. So I know exactly how the widget will look when I add it to my home screen. Generated previews were released last year for Android 15. This year, a new API in Glance 1.2 makes generating these previews easier. Over notifications, a new progress style template allows you to quickly create rideshare, navigation, delivery, and transit type notifications. Live updates are notifications with heightened visibility. These are great for user-initiated journeys, but not for ads, spam, or alerts. In this demo, we'll pair live updates with the new progress style template. You might be wondering when to use widgets versus notifications. Use notifications for ongoing time-sensitive events that require immediate attention. Use either notifications or widgets to periodically nudge the user. Widgets shine when they are used to complete user journeys quickly, retrieve information quickly, or for customizing the home screen. On to the widget demo. I have a design file showing me what my widget should look like. This design was inspired from the Widget Canonical Builder, which enables quick design of adaptive widgets. Widget canonical layout code samples are in the Platform Samples repository, which I've already downloaded and have open in Android Studio. I have Platform Samples open in Android Studio to find the widget canonical layout that best matches the design file. I can add the image text list widget to my home screen and see that it is resizable. I see that the widget's code starts in the image text list app widget file. The custom widget content composable contains many additional composables for different sizes. To get all of that resizing logic, I'll copy everything from the Layouts folder to my app's codebase, which I've already done. I changed a few additional things, including renaming the widget to Recent Orders widget and registering it in the Android manifest. I'm adding my apps widget to the home screen. My Recent Orders widget looks similar to the image text list widget, except I'm using my app's images, data, and icons instead. Finally, the button deep links into the app to open the cart screen. While I didn't show all the code required to make those changes, I hope this gives a sense of how canonical layouts can help build adaptive widgets quickly. I didn't yet create a preview for the widget. Right now, the preview doesn't clearly indicate to the user what this widget is for. So let's create a more helpful preview. In our Recent Orders widget, I'll override Provide Preview, which was released in Glance 1.2. Provide Preview is similar to Provide Glance. In Provide Glance, we provide the widget content to create the actual widget. In Provide Preview, we provide the widget content to create the preview. I'll load the list of recent orders from the repository, then pass the items to the content so that the preview uses the user's data rather than generic data. However, overriding Provide Preview isn't enough. We also need to generate and publish the preview, which we can do when either the app first launches or when the app state has changed and we feel the widget preview should update as a result. We'll generate and publish the preview when the app first launches by calling setWidgetPreview. SetWidgetPreviews is available on Android 15 and later, meaning I'll still need to provide alternative preview methods like passing in a static image or XML. I'll get our Glance App Widget Manager and call setWidgetPreview for the Recent Orders widget. That gets me 80% there. The preview is pulling in my app's data now, however, images and icons are missing. This is because Android assumes the only composables available are those that show at the widget's minimum size, which is this 1x1 widget here. The only composables that show here are a list and text. Therefore, the preview only shows a list and text. We'll fix this by overriding preview size mode to tell Android that more composables are available. We set this to size mode responsive and provide 2 layout sizes. So where do these DP values come from? We can think of widget sizes in terms of grid or DP. This widget is a 1, 2, 3, 4 by 2 widget when placed on the home screen, but a 4 by 2 widget on this form factor is different than a 4 by 2 widget on other form factors. Our engineers have done a lot of testing to identify the range of DP values that roughly map to a 4 by 2 widget across form factors. You can find the range of values here, which is also linked in the description below. Looking at this table, a 4 by 2 widget is 245 by 115 dp minimum. This is a good start for the first layout. Since this is a minimum, and not all composables may show at this minimum for this form factor, I'll provide a size that is slightly higher. With that, we are done creating our generated preview. Generated previews have a memory cost and are therefore rate limited to twice an hour. Here are 2 tips to reduce memory costs. First, don't include every possible breakpoint of your widget in the set of preview sizes. Include 1 or 2 starting from your widget's minimum drop size. Second, check to see if a preview is already set. If a preview exists and doesn't need to be created again, skip creating the preview entirely. Over to Aaron for the notifications demo.
Hi everyone, let's now go over the live updates demo, which is a code lab you can follow along with. We've extended the JetSnack example to simulate a checkout experience using standard notifications, and we'll go through the exercise of migrating to using the progress style template and apply the live update treatment. This code lab is targeted for intermediate level, so an understanding of notifications is required, as well as some basic Android development experience. In the interest of saving time, I've already checked out the code and opened it in Android Studio. In this snack bar notification manager class, scroll down to the order state in Nohe. This captures the various states that our simulated order will go through, from initializing to being prepared, en route, delivered, and completed. If I scroll down, there is a start method where the order experience is simulated. A scheduler iterates through these various enums and posts the relevant notifications specific to that order state. Let's see this in action. Go to the shopping cart icon, grant the app the post notification permission, and check out the preloaded shopping cart. At this point, I'm presented with a series of notifications going through the various states of my order. Things look great, but it can be better. Let's start the template style migration. The first thing is to compile against the latest and greatest by changing the compile SDK version to 36, which is Android 16. From the code lab, I'm pasting the method that will build the base progress style notification. The method uses the new progress style template and introduces 2 critical APIs for that template called points and segments. Points and segments allow you to visually define milestones and categories of progress in your progress bar, respectively. Milestones can be stops for navigation apps, and segment, colored in red, can be used to convey congestion and traffic to the user. We've defined 4 points to represent the states we will transition to from initializing starting point, and also defined 4 equally distributed segments for those transitions. Segments should be modified to accurately reflect order transitions, but for this demo, I'm defining them all equally to make things simple. The point colors also match the app's branding and update at each milestone. This is optional, as the OS has a default UX for this already. Now I'll replace the order state enum class to set a style on the base notifications that I created in each order state. Pasting the code from the code lab to make 4 changes. First, the notifications use the progress style. Second, set indeterminate is true to show the progress bar initializing. Third, a tracker icon captures the point of where the order is at in the progress bar. Fourth, and most importantly, progress is incremented by 25, with 100 marking the orders delivered and transaction completed with the set progress API. That's all it takes to make the migration. Let's see this in action. I now have a richer notification tracking experience, the initial indeterminate state and the order state progressing through with rich visualizations. Believe it or not, it gets better. Here are the criteria for your notification to classify as live updates to get more visibility. Your notification must have a content title, be ongoing, have the post-promoted notification permission set in their manifests, request promoted ongoing on the notification, and be either a big text, call style, progress style, or no style standard notification. You must also ensure that your notification isn't a group summary for notifications, must not request to be colorized, must not use a custom view, and have a notification channel of low importance. With that said, I'll apply the permission changes. Going back to our editor and in Android manifest.xml, add the post-promoted notification permission. Then set the request promoted ongoing on the notification. All the criteria around having content title and being ongoing and not being colorized has already been applied, so those are the only changes required. Let's see these changes in action. Now we have the status strip, always collapsed, and improved ranking changes applied to the progress style notification. The status strip allows for quick access to the heads-up notification. And when always on display, the monochrome version of the notification will be present. Let's talk more about the status strip and how it can be more useful. With the new notification Set Short Critical Text API, you can add more useful information to your users that is quickly glanceable. The notification Set When API, on the other hand, allows you to trigger a countdown for the user to monitor. I'll update our sample to leverage these APIs by adding the additional when statement from the code lab in the build-based notification method. Let's see these changes in action. Note the more useful text and countdown we just did the step before. Finally, there are new APIs to help you programmatically understand your apps and notifications' ability to post live updates. We've introduced a new method on the notification manager, can post promoted notification, to understand if your app is able to post live updates, as the user can disable this feature on a per app basis. So on that note, please be mindful of your use cases and to use live updates accordingly to best practices. On the notification itself, we have the has promotable characteristics to help you understand whether the notification has met the criteria for being a live update. See our documentation for more details on these APIs. Great, that concludes the code lab. Thanks, and back to Ash.
That's our demo. See a list of resources in the description. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you.